welcome on 360 Sport on Trust TV. Adeni Ajisafe. And we'll take a look across the globe concerning sporting activities that happened yesterday and even as we speak right now. Well, right now we start from handball. Nigeria beat Azerbaijan to record biggest win at IHF tournament. That's the first story we'll be looking at on the show. Well, good one for Team Nigeria, at least winning the second game after the loss against Bulgaria, the host nation. It's a good one. Right now, they were able to win that game 37-17. This is the biggest so far at the IHF tournament where they've been participating. And we're happy that our boys they really did well winning this game there. Well, good one. At least right now, they will be facing Great Britain on Saturday. In the qualification standard there. But from the way it is, Nigeria did well, winning the second game after losing their first match against Bulgaria, the host nation. In the studio with me is Emmanuel Fashemi. Good to have you, Emmanuel.
Thanks for having me this beautiful day. And for the Nigerian under 24 boys, they actually gave their best after they lost the first game to host Bulgaria. It's a good victory. It's good they came back and got all the wrongs in the first game right in the second game, and it's just looking good. If we had maybe drew the first game or actually win the first game, we would have been in a better position. But so far, now the classification match, we've gotten that qualification for the classification match as it's called, and it's just looking good. I see good things, good signs from Handball Federation. Just weeks ago, our under-18 girls also did us proud right there in this same tournament, and then the under-15 and the rest of them, they are doing well. They went to Ghana, came back with victory. So I think the Handball Federation is actually doing well with all the let me say their training their training program, and then competition being organized. They played some of the competition here in Abuja and then go back to Lagos to conclude those competitions. The Prudent Energy Handball League, which is up and running, and I think very soon we are going to have this year's one. So it comes every year. They host this event, and it's just too good. And for the young lads, these are players that will be picked all over the 30 states of the federation, including the FCT. So I'm happy that we actually defeated our counterpart
Azerbaijan there. Well, the fact that we lost the first game, that could have been a kind of baptism of fire welcoming to that game in Bulgaria. But I love the fact that they were able to pick all the pieces, and right now they did well in the second game that they played against Azerbaijan. And I love the fact that the margin was far better,
very far, compared
to what they lost against Bulgaria. Bulgaria's game was 23-19 or thereabout, but this one 37-17.
Look at the margin. And the game against Bulgaria, the first quarter of that game, the first half, it was 11-13 the result, and Nigeria actually gave a fight. It was the second half of that game. I don't really know what happened. They relaxed a bit, but before they could come back, get themselves together, would I say maybe it's because of the home fans that it was behind Bulgaria. But overall, I think the second game, they had to come out big, they had to come out boldly, and they took on Azerbaijan. Azerbaijan never saw it coming. This is total, let me say, demolition.
Or annihilation, right? When you join English together in sport, it's always very interesting. We've been talking about handball there. Nigerian team, the under 24 boys, really doing well there. Their second game, they won by a wide margin. In fact, the biggest win for them at the competition. IHF, International Handball Federation, Imaginations, participates over there in Bulgaria. And right now, they'll be facing Great Britain on Saturday for that classification fight. Well, we hope that they will do us proud by the time they face Great Britain. Why are they always coming together when it comes to sport? Because you see now, when you look at the Olympics, you hear Great Britain. When you go to Commonwealth Games, Great Britain. When you come to this, but when it comes to football, you see England, Wales, everybody plays differently.
Yes, you know, in some of these sports, they believe they can bring, they still want that let me say, that bonding, that unity in a way, to also show that, yes, this country are still under us. But, you know, sport is a unifying factor, and I believe that is the only way they can, you know, some of the countries might be having their own grudges inside.
Or maybe the main truth is the fact that they just want to win. When they come together, course, they are more strong. They are stronger.
They are stronger because you have other talents who are in those countries, and if they come together, you know they are coming for one common good, and which has always been helping them. If you see in the Olympics, in the Commonwealth Games, you will not see England, but they will say Great Britain. But it's only in football.
Everybody actually bear their names.
Bear their names. So, and it's a good thing that we see all these guys coming together to actually represent one country.
Nigeria on the 124 team will be over there in Bulgaria against Great Britain on Saturday as they fight their hearts out in that particular encounter at the IHF Imaginations. Now, away from handball that we started with, let's talk about the junior players, the under-15. MPFL La Liga under-15. Remo Stars battle Plateau United in the final. Well, the final will be coming up this evening by 5 p.m. Although as we speak right now, the third place fight is on between El Kanemi and Sunshine Stars. But I love the fact that it kind of balance. If you look at it, Miss Palace representing Plateau State there, the Plateau United team, they are facing Remo Stars from the southwest, and you look at El Kanemi also facing Sunshine Stars in third place right now.
Yes. Good one for Plateau United and Remo Stars that will play in the final, and for the third place match, where it's just another. Let me say it's almost the final, because if you look at the four teams, they deserve it. They are the best team so far in this tournament, and when they started from their groups, you actually saw the way they started from their groups and how they played all their group games, and getting to the quarterfinal, semi-final, and now the final is actually a good one. All I want is just the sustenance of this tournament. Let MPFA and La Liga sustain this. If maybe La Liga feels that, okay, we are done with maybe our, let me say, our sponsorship or whatever, the contract or whatever they have with the MPFL. MPFL should also go out and look for other leagues, the Bundesliga, the Italian Serie A. We can have them also come in, and it helps us to export our players, our good players, to their league. We can have this understanding, just like what Real Madrid and Rivers United is doing, so that we can expose these young ones to some of the better facilities, tactics, skills, and they can learn more than what they will learn here. Already the talent is there. Just they need to go out and nurture this talent, build them well. You know, that's why sometimes if you see these foreign players that come to play for Nigeria, because they grew there, they understand, let me say, they have the better facilities, how the developmental program is, sincerely speaking, is better than what we have here, because they take them from state to state and they are being exposed to those quality facilities, quality games. And sincerely speaking, if La Liga, MPFA can sustain this, it's good. It's a big boost for our football.
Why we're actually talking about them going to join other leagues across Europe, I think it's high time that MPFA should also be looking inward. Why did I say that? If we continue to, okay, it's good for them to go to get those facilities and exposure, right? Let's get our own inside. Let's even get it right. As we are collaborating with La Liga now, take some things from La Liga, put it
Bring
here,
it down here.
bring it down, inculcate it to Nigerian football or sport or thereabout. Before you know it, whatever you gain from La Liga, then you can go Bundesliga or French or EPL, whatever. And then not even only abroad, Morocco, Algeria, South Africa. It doesn't matter. They have very good standard league running. We can also take a cue from them. Aside that, there are so many organizations in Nigeria that can actually sponsor this event that will make it more lucrative. Aside that, every facility they really want to get, they can get it down here and let this boy run a league, which will develop our own better than always want to attach ourselves with those foreign leagues.
That I said something sometimes ago that I think the government also needs to come in. Before you can, there should be, let me say, a policy or a law barring these companies. Okay, before you open a company in Nigeria, you are going to pick a team, or a sport that, okay, you'll be sponsoring, maybe the jersey, the kids, whatever.
I think it would be better more if it's like, okay, whatever it is you are making as either foreign or whatever, just even if it's 2% or 1% for sport development.
For sport development. Drop it. Let it be for sport development. And
under the tax.
Yes, if it's going that way, but whatever that is coming in should be utilized for the purpose.
I hope a rat will not eat it later.
We've seen in this country where snakes swallowed some money, but at the same time, the purpose why that tax is being paid should be utilized in that direction, because one major problem we have somehow in Nigeria is accountability. We are not accountable for anything. You see, when you are being given funds or when you're being given an office to handle, you need to be accountable for whatever that goes on. And here, accountability is a big issue. But overall, I think it's a good program. Like you mentioned, I think the NFF should spread their tentacles. The MPFL should look inward. Okay, how can we uplift this? How can we add other innovations to this league that we have,
make it bigger and
more profitable to all the clubs, because all the clubs that participate right now should have a benefit, not just playing in the final. All the clubs, maybe from group stage or whatever. Look at the Champions League. If you qualify for the Champions League, there are a certain amount of money that is coming to you. So if we have something like that, the way La Liga is coming in, there should be more to this. It shouldn't just be, okay, exposure alone. La Liga can also say, okay, we are going to build facilities for you. Give us the space, give us the room, let's do this. They can move their things down here, and maybe an agreement for an MOU for, let's say, 10 years. Okay, we're going to have this for 10 years. Look at what Morocco did. Morocco had a developmental plan for 10 years. And after 10 years, look at the dividend in Qatar 2022. And look at the cuts across all their football levels, from the junior team to the middle and then to the senior team.
Even the women.
And so look at what they are getting. And if you look at generally in all the sports, I think they are getting it right.
Well, we've been looking at MPFL La Liga under 15 promises taking place in Ekene in Ogun State right now. As we speak, the top place match is on, and we also look at the finals coming up between Plateau under 15 against Remo Stars under 15. It's going to be a big battle between two teams, because they really deserve it. Whoever wins out of the two really deserve it, because they've done well in this competition. But we've been talking about how MPFL or NFF and looking at the IMC, all of them working together to get this particular league bigger, turning it to a league that the under 15 boys can run around and at least move around to get them to showcase a lot of talents in Nigeria. Well, away from the MPFL, let's quickly dash into NBA playoffs. It's a big one from Boston Celtic. Boston Celtic did well. They beat Atlanta Hawks 128-120 in that game that took place at State Farm Arena, and they did so well in that particular game there. Well, it's getting more interesting in the NBA playoffs right now. Eastern Conference there, looking at the fact that Boston Celtic they were ready for this game, as they were able to win by extra 8 points in the game there. Well, you look at the likes of Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum, which was a battle between them versus Trae Young, where they were able to score 32 points, 30 points, while Trae Young also got 30 points, 10 assists for his team right now. From the way it is, it's getting seriously very competitive. And you look at the teams that are participating in the Eastern and Western Conference NBA playoff this season. That's been fantastic one for the likes of Denver Nuggets. You can't take it away from them. 76ers, not forgetting the likes of Miami Heat, who actually surprised everyone against them, Milwaukee Bucks in the NBA playoffs. More of this will be coming in our subsequent edition of the 360 Sport, where we'll be talking about the NBA. It's getting more juicy and more interesting. After all, the round 2 teams are beginning to know themselves there. Away from the NBA, let's talk about the women football. Women Champions League. Barcelona Femenino did well against Chelsea. They won their game on aggregate-wise now, though it ended 1-1. But for the fact that the first leg ended 1 in favor of the Barcelona team, now it's 2-1 in aggregate. Good one. Oshoala led Barcelona Femeni to toss the Successive finals.
Good one for Oshoala and Barcelona as a whole. I think they are now trying to get hold of of the Women's and Champions League. They want to dominate just the way Lyon ladies did, and it's a good one for Oshoala, because this is going to serve as a morale booster for her and every other player who will be going to the World Cup that will be happening in New Zealand and Australia. And for Chelsea, I think they need to find this team, both the male and female, they are always at.
But the ladies really did well. Getting to the semi-final is not a fluke. They really fought well before that goal from Graham actually nailed it in the board. But at least they play 1-1 away. Right?
Yes,
to Barcelona. At home they lost, but getting to the semi-final, imagine you can't take anything away from the ladies.
The two of them played 2 seasons ago's final where Barcelona actually beat Chelsea, and everybody was thinking Chelsea was going to win that final, but Barcelona was just too good for Chelsea because Simon Kerr had this belief and everything that they are going for that win, but Barcelona came out with their A-class game, and Oshoala also was very instrumental in that final. Her first Champions League medal for her as a player,
and also as an African,
as an African woman winning the Champions League. So it's just that it's not Chelsea's night. Getting that they lost the first leg 1-0 at Stamford Bridge, and they went to Camp Nou. For them to have even gotten that goal, played a 1-1 draw, it was good one. So they couldn't add to it. But at the end, we'll have Barcelona in the final. Let's wait for who comes next in the final. I will want Oshoala and Barcelona team to actually win it for the second time.
Meanwhile, on the lights notes now, where you were about talking about the men. Where is Manchester United?
I think Manchester United will qualify for next season Champions League.
You are only forecasting for next season. I'm talking about now, this season now.
They didn't. I think Manchester United ladies end on the 4th position last season, or 5th thereabout, so they couldn't qualify. It was Arsenal and Chelsea that took that ticket.
You keep beating around the bush. The question I'm asking is now,
they are not there.
Where are you there? Sevilla did that against them. So leave Chelsea alone, please. Well, still continue on the show right now. Transferring that to the Premier League. Congrats to Barcelona Femeni qualifying for the finals of the UEFA Champions League for women. Now let's talk about the Premier League result. Games were played yesterday. Good one for Tottenham Hotspur, despite the fact they actually had to share the spoil against Manchester United, and the 2-2 in that game. What a match it was. And for Newcastle really, they are really becoming a force to be reckoned with. 4-1 against Everton, compounding the woes of the team that played at Goodison. What's happening to Everton? What's happening?
Well, for Everton, they thought they've escaped. Last season, they actually defeated Newcastle 1-0, courtesy of Iwobi's last minute goal. But this time around, it wasn't. The reverse was the case. And for Newcastle, I think Newcastle mean business this season. Hammering now in 2 games they've scored. In 2 games they've scored 10 goals. 6-1 against Tottenham last weekend, and now 4 against Everton, just considering 2. So they have 8 goals in their kitty. If you look at the way Newcastle is, as if Eddie Howe leaving AFC Bournemouth going to Newcastle, I don't really know what happened. It's not that he has the big names. That the only the big player I would call him that is in Newcastle is Kieran Trippier, because they bought him from Atletico Madrid. But every other player they took along with him from Bournemouth, that Eddie Howe took him from there. And now look at the way Newcastle, Julian, Isak is the most, let me see, the most expensive player they actually acquired. That is Isak. Now, if you look at the way Newcastle is playing, they want to play in the Champions League next season. And eventually, if they play in the Champions League, you know, they have a tie with Al-Nassr. The owners of Al-Nassr have a tie with them. So you are sure they are going to recruit the big names. And one name for sure will come to Newcastle, that is CR7. He wants to play the Champions League. That was what they put in the deal. If Newcastle qualify for Champions League, he will come to Newcastle, and they will loan him to Newcastle. And if you look at the way Newcastle is playing, they really want to play in the Champions League. I will not take anything from them. They are just too good.
Let's go to your club now. Manchester United 2-3 against Tottenham Hotspur. I know they've not been playing too well, talking about the Hotspur, but for Man U to get a 2 away, that's a good one, right?
It's not a good one because I had a heated argument with one of my Manchester United colleagues online, and it was as if we see each other, we just tear each other apart.
When the players are getting paid.
Yes, sincerely speaking, no, sometimes emotions comes in, and for Eric Ten Hag, I've watched since he took over Manchester United, he keeps making little mistakes that cost him some of his matches. You don't do I've noticed this with him, and I don't know if another person is seeing it. What we call panic substitution. He does panic. What we call panic substitution. Your team is in control of the game, and at the end you spoil it with your own hand.
He did the same thing yesterday.
Taking out Eriksen and bringing in Fred. Okay, not too bad, but you should have left this young man Anthony in that game. Now you took Anthony away. Then Anthony is a player who comes back to help the defense. For quite some matches, he has been doing that. He has been coming back to help the defense. One of the change that actually cost Manchester United this game was Wan-Bissaka. There's no need of you taking Wan-Bissaka away from that game. You would have taken Wan-Bissaka away from 80-something minutes. Wan-Bissaka kept him in some quiet in that game. Martial coming in there was no use of him. There was no need for you to bring in Martial. The only person who would have brought him was maybe to help the attack would have been this tall man Weghorst. No matter how we see that young man's help. He keeps defenders on their toes.
At least he plays the dirty.
You see him going running after the ball. If he lost the ball, he knows what to do. That was the only person who would have brought in, and then let Rashford play wide. But Wan-Bissaka going out of that game was a very big mistake.
A big mistake there, but at least they share this point there 2-2. Let's look at how the table is standing now. It's really edging home, a tough one in the league right now. Well, Manchester United sharing the spot against Tottenham. They have 60 points, trailing Newcastle with 62 points. You have Tottenham Hotspur with 54, alongside Aston Villa, where they share the same point there. Liverpool are 7th, but right now, it's really very dicey. Look at the way the table is standing. I don't want to talk about Arsenal, Man City. Let's leave that aside. But Newcastle, Man United, a match has come for Manchester United, and if they are able to win, they can still upstake Newcastle. But that's if they win. But Tottenham Hotspur, Aston Villa, is it not surprising? Look at that.
Yeah, for Tottenham Hotspur and Aston Villa to be on the same goal margin and then on the same points, and then difference in goal just with 2. Sincerely speaking, Aston Villa can close up that because the way Tottenham is playing right now, that position is not even too sure for them. Aston Villa might because the point is there. And then the 2 goals can just be within a twinkle of an eye. It can just vanish into the team.
And don't forget Liverpool too.
And Liverpool is also pushing to see how they can enter into that Europe. The position where Liverpool is is a European position, just that they will be playing in the Conference League, not in the Europa League. And they want to play in the Europa League at worst. And if I see Liverpool playing in the Conference League, sincerely speaking, it's not going to be fun.
It's going to happen. After all, we saw teams that play there. Come on. Heaven won't fall. That's football, Let's just look at the flip side of the 11 to 20 as talking about the Premier League table there. Well, for the likes of Southampton, Everton, another woe being compounded to what they had before. They're standing 19 right now, 28, 24, Southampton, Leicester City. What's a way for these 3 clubs? We have Nigerians, about 3 of them there.
All of them. All the 3 clubs, in fact, the 4 clubs that are there, from Nottingham Forest down to, we have Nigerians in those teams. And I don't really know what is happening. For Southampton, they actually played all they could, but losing that game 1-0 is just a nail on the head.
Well, from the way it is right now, all the teams need to buckle up rather, if they really want to make sure the battle favors them there. Quickly, before we go, let's look at La Liga. Games were also played. Valencia defeating Valladolid by 2-1. You have Villarreal 4-2 Espanyol, even though Successive couldn't score. Well, Atletico Bilbao, wow, Sevilla, 1-0. Good one for Sevilla.
Well, for Sevilla, they left it late. It was 90 plus before they got that
goal. But they won. They
won, and they are trying to. I think after that Manchester United defeat, that has given them the confidence to actually play well in the league. They will not go on relegation, but just that by next season they will not. If anything happens between them and Juve, they will not be in Europe next season.
Let's look at how the table is standing. Maybe Fashemi will have to look at the table well again. La Liga from 11. Now they are standing 11 on the log. So I just wanted to prove you wrong. Seriously, look at it. They have 41 points. At least they won't go down. Right now, from the way it is obvious that Sevilla is safe.
They are safe, but they will not play in Europe. If it ends like this, 11th position.
What if they defeat Juventus?
No European.
What if?
That is why I said no. Whatever happens with Juve, they might be in Europe. And if they defeat Juve and goes to the final and lost, they will not still play in Europe. But it's a good one that they have gotten their reading back from I think they were on the 13th position and now they are occupying 11th
position. For Valencia too, they are really edging up, at least edging up rather, from at the Mestalla Stadium. They were able to, they fought hard there. Well, right now they are 16 on the log. If you look at from 1 to 10, let's not even compare Barcelona and Real Madrid. But really, it has been a big battle among all the clubs. For Elche, I don't know what they will do right now.
Elche's position right now is just as, in fact, they've
gone on relegation.
They've gone on relegation, and that 13 points that they are standing on for how many weeks now? That 13 point has not changed. I was even expecting that 13 point to at least a point to make it 14.
So maybe they've given up that. Well, we agree. We just continue to play our game.
Okay, just give people the 3 points.
They've been the whipping boys of the La Liga so far this season. Just to let you have a feel of what's happening in all those leagues in Europe, and also not forgetting our own under 15 promises. The final will be on by 5 p.m. Well, a big one there between Remo Stars and Plateau United, where they'll be fighting hard to see who win this battle for this particular year. That will be it on 360 Sport with Emmanuel Fashemi. Thanks so much.
It's been my pleasure.
Adeni Ajishafe. Thanks for watching.